Ms. King.
Good morning, Chairman Van Drew and the distinguished members of the subcommittee. Thank you for inviting me to participate in today's hearing on victims of violent crime. This testimony provided to you today is through my personal capacity as a private citizen and native of this community and based upon my professional experience. My name is Dena King and I'm an attorney. I've always known I wanted to be an attorney because I wanted to help my community, serve justice, and uphold the law. I spent 19 years, nearly 2 decades, as a prosecutor, serving both as a state and a federal prosecutor. I started my legal career as a state prosecutor here in Mecklenburg County, where in addition to prosecuting crimes, I also worked in our mental health and drug courts. It was within that role that I saw firsthand the intersection between mental health and substance abuse issues within our criminal justice system. These specialized treatment courts demonstrated exactly what long-term studies have shown, that these courts significantly reduce recidivism. As a federal prosecutor, I was a member and leader of the Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force, formerly referred to as OCDETF, whereby through prosecutions I identified, disrupted, and dismantled major organized crime, violent, and drug trafficking organizations. It was through this initiative that I was able to prosecute some of our state's most violent offenders, including members of a gang that were responsible for committing several murders in North Carolina. What I soon learned after those defendants were convicted of racketeering murder charges and sentenced to consecutive life sentences is that victims of crime, the family members of those murdered, still need resources to help them long after defendants are imprisoned. We need more support and funding for survivors and victims. What I've learned as an attorney prosecuting cases across this state, from the mountains to the sea, is that crime occurs in every community. Crime of any kind is unacceptable. I implore Congress to work with state and local governments and provide funding to community-based organizations to develop real solutions to address these problems. Solutions that address the specific needs of each community, as a one-size-fits-all approach will not work. Specifically here in Mecklenburg County, funding's needed to assist in increasing our prosecutor staffing levels, which continue to lag significantly behind similar-sized jurisdictions. The Association of Prosecuting Attorneys suggests that for a jurisdiction the size of Mecklenburg, we should have at least 144 state prosecutors. Instead, we have 62 state-allocated positions and 22 additionally funded positions through Mecklenburg County and the city, bringing that total to 84. The high caseload of the prosecutors here results in prosecutor turnover. The district attorney's office cannot continue to do more with less. They cannot do more prosecutions with less staff. They need more resources, more funding, and more staff. During the last 4 years in my role as a federal prosecutor, it was, in fact, my priority to reduce violent crime, to remove illegal firearms from our streets, and to keep the people of the Western District of North Carolina safe. However, I recognize that my crime reduction efforts needed to extend beyond prosecutions. We cannot arrest or prosecute our way out of violent crime. That's why we need to be intentional about also incorporating violence prevention programs and intervention strategies, providing resources to community organizations and stakeholders to work with law enforcement and prosecutors in a shared commitment to making communities safer. The fight against violent crime isn't a fight that any one of us in this room can win alone. We must join forces, elected officials, law enforcement, prosecutors, community organizations, advocates, mental health, and substance abuse professionals to support each other's work. Our joint forces are critical to our shared goal, which is to prevent tragedies and loss of life, to provide mental health and substance abuse resources to those in need, to hold offenders accountable, and to provide victims and survivors with the security and resources they need to rebuild their lives. To be clear, addressing and developing solutions for violent crime is a nonpartisan issue because everyone in this community deserves the right to live safely. In fact, everyone in this community deserves the right to live. Thank you for holding this hearing, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Ms. King. Mr. Asher.